Freedom of speech is a right promised to us by the Constitution. All around you are bombarded with examples of this, from posters to advertisements to people simply talking to you on the street. There's a wide range of stuff that influences how you think. On a college campus, your rights fall into a gray area with this, and the ways in which you can express your right to free speech are limited. One such way that you can do this is chalking. While chalking is a relatively calm example of this, some are more extreme.
If the speech became hate speech towards a group and threatening towards a group, they said we're going to kill this group or we're going to kill that group, we would probably have to intervene at that point. However, it has been my experience that a lot can be said. For example, there was a traveling evangelist that came to campus, and he had some not real nice things on a board towards purpose homosexuality. Yeah. This was biblical based, and really what he wanted was he wanted to engage. So he was on that line of provoking. Yeah, and it angered some people. One student started trying to tear stuff out of the guy's hand. I had to intervene because it was on that edge and it made this student angry. I had to intervene and protect the man. It was really heavy.
Although this is an extreme example, there are other, more subtle ways to go about expressing yourself. Chalking on campus is very common and is allowed for any club that follows the right procedures.
So what are the rules about chalking at HSU?
So, chalking at HSU, you just have to grab this chalking permit and write down your club or organization, the representative name, and provide an example of what you will chalk down here. And then you have to get it signed by plant operations right there, and then our office right here. So the chalking, the purpose of the form is really so we know who's chalking. It's not to censor what people are saying as much as it is to know who has permission to chalk on campus or who has gone through the process and that sort of thing.
Even when the proper procedures are followed to exercise this right, on a politically charged and diverse campus like HSU, problems can easily arise between multiple parties practicing this freedom of speech.
The steps originally said hashtag Black Lives Matter, but over that, Black Lives was crossed out and put all lives matter, and similar messages parentheses, not just. That was in several places. And then we get up actually to the UC quad, and many of the chalk outlines were turned into gingerbread men to the club's office. And we say to the club office coordinator, hey, we're upset because this happened, and we feel violated in a way. This is our free speech right to do this. We took quite some time to get that chalking permit to do this, and that whole thing.
Obviously, this is a charged problem. University police were minimally involved in the matter. The majority was left up to the clubs and activities office. The way in which they responded was reflective of the rules and regulations they must follow.
I tried really hard to work with them. So they came and reported it to me. And so what we did right away is we were trying to help them and support them. And so what we did is we were like, we don't know who reported it because we don't know, no one contacted us. So it was someone else who must have let them know that no one had filled out a chalking permit. But then right on the bat, we had them fill out a chalking permit, called over to facilities, and let facilities know that they're coming over. And then shortly after, we actually had some of our student staff go out there and help them do the chalking again, and put down the chalk again after they filled out the facilities and our chalking permit.
Do you feel that Humboldt truly allows students to express themselves freely?
It depends on who expresses themselves and to what extent, and about what. I feel as though the voices of students of color or multicultural students, it depends on what they're expressing. They're expressing something that's more pleasant, like, oh, we're doing this this thing, or we're doing this thing that's deemed positive by an institution. But if you call out the institution, or take shots at the institution, or say, hey, this is where you're not meeting my needs as a student, I think that draws a lot of ire and slightly some resistance, but also resentment on behalf of the institution, because how dare you? You're a student. You're a kid. And I feel that the institution, like many other institutions, many other bureaucracies are here to manage. And I was having this conversation with a professor not too long ago. We were talking about does the institution care? I said it does care in the way it strictly means to manage. Like there's people who care, but they manage.
So where does this leave us? College campuses have historically been one of the most open forums to express yourself in, if you do it in the right way. In this case, even though the proper procedures were followed, the Black Student Union still felt as though their rights had been violated. It seems as though the people in charge are following the instructions handed down from higher management. Hopefully sometime in the near future, we will have a more direct and streamlined way to go about freedom of speech.
What's up?
Not much.
Nothing much here either. Exciting though.
Did you guys read that chalk you just walked over?
No.
Cool.
What does it say?
Well, see, we're doing like a little film thing on if people read chalk. So you don't really have to read it. I was just wondering if you did.
So that we failed.